Dan.
And my name is also Dan.
And welcome back to the Dan the Games Man podcast, your fortnightly gaming podcast. And we are back after my holidays. And let's just say we have a little bit to catch up on. It just seems every time, either just before we record a podcast or before I go away for a long period of time, the entire gaming industry as a whole decides to drop all the news they've been holding on to for the rest of the year. So we have a lot to cover this episode, but straight away, the first thing we all want to know is, Dan, what have you been playing over the past 4 weeks?
Other than playing the Fool, I have been trying to catch up with you on Expedition 33.
How are you finding it so far?
I'm loving it. I still can't parry for love nor money.
That was going to be my first question. Have you got the hang of the parry system yet?
On some things, like, yeah, I can learn that pattern. Some of them I'm still baffled by. I saw one hint that was like, go more by the noise. I'm like, shut up. I'm not doing that.
One of the ones that really gave me issues. Have you had like the weird Dark Souls looking ones that kind of stab themselves with a long sword and then swing it?
Those ones I actually got quite good at.
Okay. Them ones, I feel like the first time you meet them, before massive spoiler, that's a really they are really difficult. That area I thought really kind of was a jump in difficulty of the game.
Oh, 100%. I was going from like whacking everything straight down to being like, oh, that's problematic.
Yeah, I feel like that's where the game actually really starts to take place.
My L came into her own with with her one that's like, I'm going to ignore all your shields and then get some AP back. I'm like, yes.
Some of those shields, like later on, you get those shields really start to stack on that game.
Yeah,
it does make a large amount of difference.
Yeah, I think I got a Verso skill. No, Monoko that does a similar thing. But yeah, other than that, and I am loving that game, by the way, and the Monoko boss fight music.
Oh, it slaps, doesn't it?
It's good. It is funky and fresh, and I love it. But yeah, other than that, what have I been playing? I've been playing Hard Bullet on Quest.
Oh, how's that?
It's insane.
Just tell the listeners what it is as well, in case they don't know.
So, small-scale sandboxes, wave-based combat, really good physics, shooting, and melee stuff, and it's wildly unhinged at every turn. You can go into like a little sandbox mode where you can faff around, and there's a ammo creator where you can put in any gun in the game and any other item in the game and make that thing ammo. So I have got a video I need to show you where I'm using a machine gun that fires like 8-foot long spears.
Perfect.
It's flipping wonderful.
I'm glad to hear it's a realistic first-person shooter.
Yeah, I strive to have the most amount of realism in my shooters.
Yeah.
But they have been taking up the most amount of time in my gaming recently, actually.
So I've kind of got a good and a bad I've been playing recently. I'll start with the bad. So when I was away, I did pick up a copy of South Park Snow Day for the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, nice.
And it's terrible.
Oh.
Like, after the kind of success of the park. So South Park games have had like a mixed history of being awful and then being The Stick of Truth and Fractured But Whole.
Yeah.
They're the two things. Every South Park game is terrible. Those two good. Snow Day, once again, falls into the realms of being terrible. It's kind of like... It's like the worst kind of MOBA ever. Essentially, like, you need to beat a boss. You need to beat 1 trillion enemies before you can actually fight the boss. But all of those trillion enemies are also, like, absolute bullet sponges. And it really wants you to play with friends, but no 4 people on the face of the planet probably want to play the game. And it's just one of the most boring mechanics of just... It's literally like 2-button combat, except you can use range, but the range is so terrible, you just go back to just using... just batting stuff, which then is just a bullet sponge. And there's enemies that knock you over, which then by knock you over they make you fly to the other end of the map. It's just
perfect.
It's just everything that's bad about a game that they've seemingly tried to force into. It's awful. I thought it can't be that bad for £10, but it is. It's really bad.
It's worse than having no game.
Yeah, I probably would have actually. The thing is, you'd probably had more fun watching an episode of South Park because you think, oh well, the cutscenes will save it. It's like they're not terrible, but they're still not great.
Yeah.
I mean, because they're very heavily leaning on you still being the new kid and kind of like referencing bits from like Fractured But Whole and like Stick of Truth and you ruined the game, so now we've had to restart the game with different rules. The only thing I do like is the BS card, which just suddenly goes bull. You know what? Incredibly loudly, like the mixing of the sound of the game is awful because that's like boomingly loud. So you'll be sitting there playing it, just go bull really loud. You're like, oh. And then like kind of cards that change things up. But the ones you seem to get are quite good. Then the enemies get, oh yeah, all our soldiers have lightsabers now. You're like, oh, okay. It's absolutely one-sided. I don't know if it gets better if you play it for a decent amount of time, but I just couldn't really be bothered.
Yeah, and I suppose there's never going to be a recommendation for a video game that the best bit is the bit when you're not playing.
Yeah.
Cutscenes.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the boss battles were kind of funny, but then they're like super bullet sponges, and they all had like massive area effects. And if you're not playing with friends, it kind of makes you play with free bots who are trash. And yeah, it's just really annoying. But yeah, I don't want to dwell too much on the bad. I've also this week, when I came back from the road, I have finished Doom: The Dark Ages.
Sweet.
Absolutely, really good fun game. I don't think it reached the lofty heights of Doom 2016, which for me is the height of the Doom franchise.
Yeah.
I actually prefer that to the original Dooms, even though they did change video games forever.
Yeah.
So, we all always live in the shadow of Doom. But yeah, it was a very good game. Totally non-spoilery with it. There is some real left field twists and turns in that game. So incredibly weird things happen, and one of which there's two massive like what moments in the game, and the first one is like really, really mad. I don't want to spoil what it is, but I think like overall very good. I kind of like the heaviness of combat. It always felt like you were in a massive mech suit, even though you're not. And I like kind of the flail, and I like the massive club you can bash things with. I like the fact that guns mash up skulls. But I just do think the guns never really got to that mad.
Yeah.
You know, I liked the gun which fired the cannonball. That was fun.
I enjoyed that.
So, like smashing armor, literally, and like
come back.
You know, I just found the problem it had is I enjoyed that you could use any gun on any enemy rather than like in Doom Eternal. It's like try and use this gun on this enemy specifically, then quickly use this gun with this ammo to do this, and then use this B function that gun for this enemy.
Yeah, it was a bit
Well,
much.
at least in Doom the Dark Age you can use whatever the hell you want. But for me, it just always seemed to be the plasma rifle, which fired incredibly fast because it was an easier thing to do.
Yeah.
Because you could just mowed everything down. So I just basically stuck with that one gun. I like the game. I did get quite into grenade launcher later on.
Ooh, I've not unlocked that yet.
And I did really enjoy the shield.
Shield was amazing.
The shield was great fun. It was definitely the best thing they added to the game. I really enjoyed the shield. But yeah, really, really good game. And yeah, finished that. And then I was going to jump straight into Atomfall.
Oh, yeah.
Which I've had downloaded on my Xbox Series X since the day it came out. Then it went, we just need a quick update. And I was like, oh, here we go. This is one of the joys of modern gaming. So we're just going to do an update of your game of 24 gig. I was like, okay, I'm not going to play. I just literally sat down. I was like, right, I've got a couple of hours. I'm going to jump into something new. And then, so I was like, right, I'm going through... Because I basically got back from holiday, and while I was away, like everything, a million games got released.
Yep.
So I basically came home. As soon as I got home that night, put everything on to download. So I also have been playing through Space Marine Reloaded.
Excellent.
So basically, yeah, it's the first Space Marine game from 2013. I think it was released on 360 and PS3.
Yeah, it was around then, isn't it? 2010s.
Yeah, really good game. It's really cool and interesting going back playing it now after playing Space Marine 2. Because it references so much. It's really weird. It's kind of weird and really cool going against the orcs.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's more the Tyranid, and spoiler alert for a 13-year-old game, eventually Chaos Space Marines, which obviously see the Chaos Space Marines in Space Marine 2 and also the Tyranids. But the orcs you don't see in the new one. But yeah, it's definitely interesting fighting an enemy that fights back.
Yes, rather than just swarms and is Andy.
Yeah. No, I feel like this one more mixes ranged... I feel like the original Space Marine mixes ranged and melee combat better than the second one, maybe?
Yeah, if you had to rely on melee in the second one, you're kind of in trouble.
Yeah, you will. And like, but yeah, I think it balances it a lot better. I think you can basically play like 100% melee or 100%. It always annoys me in the original Space Marine. It's like, you have a jump pack, and it's like, hooray, and it's like, it ran out of fuel. And I'm like, oh. It's always a sad moment.
I want to play to the skies.
Yeah, really enjoying that. I know there's been some issues with the PC port.
Mm.
I think that's been pretty buggy. I think it's been deleting people's saves, stuff like that. But yeah, on the Xbox Series X, absolutely no issues.
Glorious.
This game's past day one. Really enjoying it. I think it's only like a 6 or 7 hour campaign. I'm halfway through, like 2 or 3 hours in, and yeah, having a blast with it so far.
I remember it being a good giggle.
And then hopefully, well, I have downloaded Atomfall now. But I don't know, I'm going to finish Space Marine and I'll kind of see what happens next.
That's fair.
Which actually nicely brings us on to our Dan the Games Man Games Club game of the fortnight, because we didn't really set a game for last time, so I knew I'd be on the road and didn't play that much games. But now we are back with a vengeance, and the Down to Games Man Games Club short game for this fortnight is going to be a game which we both embarrassingly have never played to completion, and that is Limbo.
Limbo, baby.
I think one of the original indie babies, would you say?
Yeah, it was. Obviously, there were plenty of indie games before that, but it seemed to be in that wave where it was like, oh, these indies are getting a lot more attention. And, I think we were saying earlier, it was kind of the start of the trend of the little kid, big head game.
Yeah, I think it kind of came at like the real big growth of like the Xbox 360 Live Arcade. It kind of was that time when you had like Braid, Castle Crashers, and Limbo.
Right, yes.
And what was the motorbike one? We'll come back to that later on, I'm sure. Remember?
Oh, like Trials.
Trials.
Oh,
yeah.
Gosh, yeah.
And Explosion Man. That was a good game. Which I was going to name indie games now, but yeah. So
Doritos Crash Course.
Oh, so good. No longer available.
Rubbish.
Got delisted with the Xbox 360 store. What a real loss. You can buy an American copy on disc if you are desperate to play Doritos Crash Course for some bizarre reason. But yeah, so over the next 2 weeks we will be playing through Limbo. I think it's about a 4 or 5 hour campaign.
Solid.
Looks pretty dark, pretty cool. And then we'll be discussing it in full with spoilers on the next podcast, and hopefully you'll play along with us. It's on most things, I think.
I think so at this stage.
Yeah, I know it's on Xbox Games Pass if you got that. I think it's on PlayStation Plus as well.
I think so. It feels like one of those ones that's been so popular and ubiquitous.
And if not, I think it's worth. You can pick up a disc copy from CX, which it's with Cold with Inside on the same disc, which is another really good one of those kind of side-scrolling indie games.
Lovely.
We've got a lot to get through this episode, so we're going to go on to news. Did you want to start the news this time?
I can start the news. I've got some little bits and pieces I've found. Let me find the one that actually kind of ties in nicely with what we just said. So it's not a huge thing, it's just peculiar. And that is that in the last week or so, the 360 got an update.
Okay.
Yeah, it was weird. It was just a simple thing to fix a visual bug where the dashboard was stretching and looking weird. But nearly a year after they
commitment.
Got rid of the store and everything and kind of basically bricked it.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, we'll just give it a quick update.
It confused me how companies do that. So like, you viewers can't see, even if you're watching a video version on YouTube here, but me and Dan can see my PlayStation 3 in front of us. That actually updates often enough that I see it update. Because it has a different colour light and it flashes when it's updating. That updates surprisingly often.
That's quite peculiar.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
It is impressive they kind of keep updating these consoles like years afterwards, but yeah, that's really weird that they would suddenly drop that. But I'm going to try and... All of my news stories, as always, are weird.
Good. I love the weird
I'm just trying to work out which one is the weirdest. I just want to start with some real, actual news first. And this is one few games that's been announced over the past few weeks that wasn't part of one of the massive kind of gaming announcement things. So we're going to be talking about PlayStation State of Play, Summer Games Fest, and Xbox Games Showcase later in the episode. But recently, there was a new game announced. It's a new live-action psychological horror game blurring film and game boundaries. It stars Neil Newborn and Ben Starr.
Nice.
So it's like a live-action kind of survival psychological horror game called Dead Take.
Nice.
And essentially, I think it's about I think it's going to touch a lot of nerves. I think it's about abuse in the entertainment industry by the looks of things, and it looks pretty dark. But basically, Neil Newborn, who was the Starion in Baldur's Gate, and I'm sure other things, and also Ben Starr, who is everything.
Is he Minoko?
No, Ben Starr was Verso.
Ah, yeah, I knew he was one of them.
And he's also the Joker in Balatro. In real life, he appears as a Joker at many gaming conventions.
That's kind of
things like that.
Weird.
Yeah, that's definitely one that I'm really looking forward to because I do like a good live action game.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it's enough, and I feel like with those two starring in it, it should be good.
I like that because the action's going to be like on point.
Yeah. I think sometimes if you get you don't want Night Trap level of
I wasn't thinking Night Trap.
Yeah. Live action game, you mean Night Trap. Also, play Night Trap.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll throw the news ball back to you.
So, bouncing again off something we mentioned just a moment ago, when that would be Space Marine 2.
Yes.
There's been some more updates recently, and one that is coming will be a new PvP mode that is Chaos versus Chaos, which you might think, but one of the things about that is you get to pilot a Hellbrute.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so
I was wondering if we get like dreadnoughts at some point.
I want that. That's going to be cool. It's going to be
that is cool.
Absolute nonsense.
See, I'm not really that big on PvP, but that could sell me.
Yeah, I've tried to play it on too, because I did play a lot back in the day on Space Marine 1. Wasn't great, but got okay. At Space Marine 2, I get clapped.
It reminds me the kind of classic God of War multiplayer, where you get good at like the kind of shotgun rolls, or you just get absolutely slapped.
Yes. Oh gosh.
Yeah, it definitely reminds me of that. But that's quite exciting because also that's just recently had the. It's not called Horde mode, is it?
Yeah, I know which one you mean. Oh, what even is it called?
It's Horde mode, but it's not
Horde.
called that.
It's NIDS. It's lots of NIDS. We like it. We like it.
I'm going to carry on the weird news with... Can you remember, back in the 90s, the Street Fighter movie?
I try to forget.
The Street Fighter movie was quite mad, wasn't it?
Yes.
So Jean-Claude Van Damme was quite odd.
Mm-hmm.
And was it...
Raul Julia.
And was it Kylie Minogue or Danny Minogue?
Kylie Minogue, yeah.
Kylie Minogue. They're now announced a new Street Fighter movie.
Perfect.
Coming very soon. And they've decided to also carry on the mad casting.
Is it Roy Chubby Brown?
It's not quite as... So, there's a real mix of people here.
Okay.
So, they've announced lots of stars. We're going to kind of go with the big ones. We've got a lot to go through. So, the main person they've announced is Curtis 50 Cent Jackson for Balrog.
Okay.
So, you know, big boxer.
Yeah, fair.
Works quite well. He's a big bloke. Good work.
I've seen him in some films and he wasn't terrible.
This is probably my favourite. Who would you have play Blanca?
Oh, gosh. That's going to have to be someone that's good at contortion and whatnot if they're not going to just CG it.
They must CG it, I think.
Imagine. Andy Serkis. There's always Andy Serkis.
You think that would make sense? No, it's Jason Momoa.
Are they just going to paint him orange? Is this going to be like that and Lobo? They're just going to paint Jason Momoa and let him be him.
Yeah, unless they're just going to CGI the hell out of it. Then Akuma is going to be played by Roman Reigns. This is not a fever dream. This is an actual Hollywood casting.
I mean, I know it's not unheard of for WWE stars to go into acting, but has he done that yet? I feel like
I don't know. Orville Peck is going to be Vega.
Orville Peck?
Yeah.
As in, okay.
And I did read somewhere, I don't think they've cast them yet, but they are putting Dan in the game. In the film, sorry, which is a bit of an insult. Not either of us. Just the character Dan from Street Fighter, who is the worst character in the game.
Oh, yeah, with the mustache. And...
Yeah, I just think they're just putting Dan in because, you know... So that looks...
We are free, though.
If they want us to play Dan, just both of us.
Each scene, they just swap which one it is.
Yeah, no one knows.
That's fine.
So yeah, looking forward to the new Street Fighter film. That should be as unhinged as it should be. Carrying on tradition.
Orville Peck. What a choice.
Have you got any more news?
I mean, I don't think I can top that. Do you know the name Matt Ryan when it comes to actors?
No, I'm very bad with names.
Wonderful Welshman, played Constantine in the tragically short show on...
That was really good.
I love that show. So good.
There was so many good DC TV shows they decided to butcher to get that weird guy who played the Flash.
Yeah. I know he turned up a little bit in like Legends of Tomorrow and stuff like that with some crossovers, but nowhere near enough.
No.
But he was also the voice of Edward Kenway in Black Flag, Assassin's Creed 4. And he has hinted at a remaster of that. Possibly because Skull and Bones went...
Yeah, that sunk quick, didn't it?
Yes.
Was it quadruple A?
Oh, that's it. The first quadruple A game. Really?
I love when companies just really shoot themselves in the foot. Like when Borderlands, for like, Borderlands 4, if you're a real fan, you'll buy the super special edition. It's like, why did you say that, Randy?
Yeah, you'll sell your child's diabetes medication to make sure you can get this. Oh, cool. Great.
Sounds like a bad Simpsons advert for Bone Storm, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. Who knows if we really need a remaster of that, but I did really like the ship combat and the whole ship mechanic.
I suppose
kind of
we kind of
unnecessary.
had like a remaster. See, you could probably just do you could do another one, but then you had Rogue, which had some incredibly annoying stealth sections. Like, I feel like some of the Rogue stealth sections for the insta-kill with the rifles was some of the worst sections of any Assassin's Creed game, so...
And that's saying something.
I feel like they should probably just let that wreck lie. But then again, it's Ubisoft, and...
They never will.
No. But, I haven't played Assassin's Creed Shadows yet. I kind of have a standard thing with most Assassin's Creed games, just waiting until they get cheaper.
Yeah.
And then playing about a quarter of it, and then realising it's way too bloated.
Yeah. It's like you've got enough things to collect. You don't need to play one of those games.
Yeah, it's just I just find them too long.
I'm gonna bounce back again. Oh, little segues. After our mention of Roman Reigns, WWE
Where is he now?
2K25. Have you heard about some of the new characters?
Yeah, it's all stupid.
Yeah, Shaq.
So this is how 2K have decided to thank all the fans for buying their yearly game franchise by making a season pass which adds another 50 or 60 quid on top of the game, so you can get a lot of the new characters, and then bundling in a lot of wrestlers with a load of sports people who no one wants.
Yeah.
So it's just like the Hoops pack or some...
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but Dunkin' and something.
Dunkin' Donuts
I don't know.
pack, yeah. It's got like 4 basketball players and an Abyss.
Yeah.
Whichever wants to play as Abyss, because then you get his massive like nail board. Juliet, I think it's called. I can't remember. It's been a long while since I watched TNA. But yeah, it's just a bit of an insult, that one.
Yeah, I mean, I read it and I'm like, is this from April and I missed it?
And I think as well, like they're still not released some characters who are meant to be on the old DLCs, and then they've yeah.
Perfect.
I feel like 2K is another one of those games where every year they try and get you people to buy it on day one, but they actively discourage you by putting in so much DLC, or the fact, well, we're a few days away from Prime Day at the moment, which is maybe where I'll pick it up because it'll probably drop to about 25, 30 quid,
Probably.
Which I'm quite happy to pay, but yearly sports games are a joke.
Yeah. The only thing I can hope with that is just leaning on the basketball aspect. The commentators will do some of the NBA Jam stuff.
Yeah, you really hope so.
That'd be good. Or just yell Shaq attack every now and then.
But yeah, the WWE 2K games do leave a bit of sour taste.
Yeah, I remember they really started to go a bit funny around 2K20.
They kind of pulled it back last year, but it's just the classic thing with games of just chucking in as much content and microtransactions as possible. Essentially, you got Ultimate Team with the cards, I can't remember the name, which I got really into last year, but I don't know. I enjoy the games. I just feel like sometimes they don't make a big enough jump, but 24 was really good.
Fair.
Best for years, which after a few years before it needed to be, because that very nearly killed the entire franchise. I got one last piece of news before we move on, and this is more confusing considering this is newer news than the Xbox news we're going to be talking about later on, but stick with me. And that's that the Xbox Quest 3 now exists.
Yeah, that one has baffled me.
Yeah, we're going to talk more about Xbox kind of spin-offs as such later on, but this one is confusing. I don't know why. So it's not really got anything to do with Xbox. It's just a Quest 3 in Xbox colours with the Xbox logo on, and you can play Games Pass on your Quest.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that just means it's a little virtual screen.
Is this just the whole everything is an Xbox, but this is a branded Xbox?
It's a very good point. It probably is that.
We'll kind of talk more about them blurring the lines between what is an Xbox later on.
Yes, this is true.
And we'll kind of touch on it, like the kind of number of people who've been fired by Xbox this year and this week.
I did.
Like I'm now trying to find the official stats, but yeah, they're cutting about 200 more jobs, and it just seems consistently that Microsoft are cutting jobs.
Yeah.
And they've also like totally nearly stopped working on the new Perfect Dark game as well now.
Oh.
Actually, no, so it could potentially hit 9,000 jobs.
That's quite the jump.
Yeah, it's I don't know if Xbox know what they're doing at the moment.
Really doesn't sound like it.
And we'll kind of jump more into that later on. You'll see, it kind of feels like consoles don't seem to know how to release stuff over time anymore.
No.
Like the past few months on Xbox Games Pass has been insanity.
Yeah.
It's like every 2 weeks is a AAA game, for lack of a better term, that you want to play.
Yeah.
And then last year on Xbox, nothing.
Yeah, it was pretty dry, and then it seems like they just waited and gone, here it all is.
And then same this year last year on PlayStation, Infinite. This year on PlayStation, I don't think there's been a PlayStation game released this year I care about.
Nothing springs to
And
mind.
we're over halfway through 2025, and
No.
there's not been a PlayStation must play.
No.
Which actually brings us on to, I'm not going to doom and gloom too much about that because it sucks. But this is the hottest, freshest news I think we've ever had on the podcast. Something that actually came in 2 hours ago.
Hit me with it.
So today, because we have to talk about it every podcast, we are legally binded, we had the Helldivers live stream. Whoop! So, I think you were working still when this came on. There was a countdown. This is why I love Helldivers. There was a 1 hour countdown for a 2-minute announcement.
For God's sake.
1 hour of just like the Helldivers home screen, slightly animated. You know how it does when it does a loading screen.
Yeah.
And then 2 hours later, 1 hour later, 2 minutes. Helldivers is finally coming to Xbox.
Reinforcements.
August 26th is dropping on Xbox.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm just glad more people get to come into Helldivers. I feel like they could have timed it better.
Yeah.
They should have lined it up with the invasion of Super-Av, and I'm sure they will line it up with one of the craziest things that's ever going to happen on the game.
I feel like it writes itself too well for it to be like, hey, reinforcements, jump in on this. That would be pretty
There's
cool.
always going to be there's reinforcements,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
I think, imagine if it's Games Pass.
Imagine if they do, like, they're not actually... What if Xbox players are a different faction?
That would be incredible, yeah. Yeah,
Really
they're not...
the console war.
These aren't reinforcements. They're the enemy. That would be wild, and
It'd
it
be
would
quite
not
funny.
surprise me in the slightest.
That would be wild. I'd enjoy it.
Also,
thoroughly.
there's going to be some people who have not seen some things that are going to see some things.
Mhm.
Because the thing is, like, if you've never played Helldivers, I feel like it's got gradually crazier.
Oh yeah, it's wildly unhinged. I mean, my favourite thing in, like, let's call it the meta at the minute is using the anti-tank cannon as a trebuchet and then firing one of the portable nukes across the...
Yeah.
Just like,
I think there's
"Whee!"
going to be some really crazy stuff.
Mhm. I'm here for it.
And yeah, I'm very, very excited for it. But
Tell you what, it could overlap with, actually.
what's
I
that?
do have some small leaking news from Helldivers 2, and that is that Cyberstan has been leaked, the Automaton homeworld. So it's a little way off, but that might actually play into that. We're actually going to be able to take the fight to the Automaton homeworld.
Oh, imagine if we could wipe out the bots.
That'd be pretty good.
That could
Purge.
be, yeah, that could be cool.
Factory reset on them boys.
But that is to come, and yeah, Xbox. If you're an Xbox player, I've never played Helldivers 2, pre-order it. It is the one game that I didn't pre-order that I wish I had, because
so
it deserves your money. I think it's probably going to be about 30 quid again, isn't it?
Probably about that.
And also there's capes.
Yes.
If you pre-order, there's new capes.
Yeah. I think there was a fresh one dropped for the review bomb. I
Yes,
think
it was.
as well.
And the community is fantastic for Helldivers 2. Like, it's always funny.
Yep.
Even if things are terrible. It's like, I think one of my favourite ones was you could either save the arms factory or the children's...
Oh, yeah.
The orphanage.
Yeah.
And the orphanage had no real world... had no effect on the game, but in the real world, then the developers donate a load of money to a kids' charity, didn't they?
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
It's pretty good. But moving on to something worse, we'll move on to this time's Reddit story.
Oh, excellent.
So once again, my wife has gone through the depths of Reddit to find a gaming-based story. This one's from 6 years ago, and it is another Tfue.
Lovely.
And today I fudged up. And today I fudged up by playing a Jackbox game with my girlfriend's family.
Oh, no.
So,
don't do
6 years. I'm hoping it's early lockdown. Because I was a big Jackbox player during lockdown. I played a lot of Jackbox. We kind of started with Cards Against Humanity because everyone had his deck in their house.
Yeah.
And then we kind of moved on to Jackbox and it got dark.
Yeah.
It got not suitable for podcast. Which I'm guessing this is where this is going to go. So, A little background. My girlfriend's family is extremely conservative. Perfect.
Yeah, great start.
Like, goes to church twice every Sunday and never swears conservative. While they're really nice people, it's a challenge for my heathen self to successfully endure a whole weekend with them without saying something that brings shame to my name. Onward. This isn't by you, is it? So earlier tonight, my girlfriend's family decided to play some games. So we settled on Drawful, a game that allows you to draw things from your phone. This is where things go south. Any of the games that allow you to draw things in, it's going to be a penis.
Yes.
I'm saying now, not having read this story before, this will be about a penis.
It's going to be big and it's going to be grotesque.
After choosing our character names, you have to draw your character. Seems cool, right? However, this is my first time playing and everyone failed to mention it. Once you start drawing, you cannot erase. Right, that's 2 lines. So being the funny guy I am, I draw this huge, veiny dick and secretly show it to my girlfriend in front of me. We have a good laugh because we both know well that her family would be mortified if it showed up on her screen. As a joke, my girlfriend pretends to hit submit on my phone. In reality, she really did hit submit. Next thing I know, my character pops up on the TV with a huge contoured schlong. Great use of the word schlong. I'm lost now. There's no mistaking his beauty either. My heart skipped a beat. I looked around and accidentally made contact with her 12-year-old sister. It looks to me with disappointment unmatched by anything I've experienced before. I panic. I try to exit the game, but my Dickasso. Masterpiece of made in the centre of the screen. I stare at my phone to avoid the look from her parents. I try to pretend I have no idea what happened. The game starts and every round, without fail, my pork saw drawing makes its way around the screen. I don't see a single word. The room is uncomfortably silent. I hear the occasional giggle from my girlfriend. I'm doing my best not to explode inside. The game finally ends after what feels like a year. I select the new character screen. Her dad says, "What? You don't want to keep your big penis on there? Jesus would be so proud on this Easter weekend." Even better is at Easter. Safe to say my girlfriend, more her family, isn't the one for me. Top comment, most upvoted. Probably too late to help, but in Drawful, if you refresh the page, it resets any drawing. Top fact there.
We love it.
Top tip.
Looks like he drew the top tip and it wasn't good.
It's a great game. Only wish you could have different coloured pens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dear me. That's a solid one, though.
Yeah, a lot of them are like, that's the fun of the game.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Well, now you can't get mad if someone called you a dick.
True.
There's also a link here to a group, I can't believe Jesus called me a dick, which I'm not going to click on right now. And a final comment by a user whose past has now deleted their name. Pulled out this massive schlong in front of an entire family on Easter. Power move.
I mean,
That was a great story.
Oh, God.
And it happens to the best of us, really.
Yeah. I've drawn some things on TKO I ought not have, but we live and learn.
Yeah.
And we get the print.
What happens on Drawful stays on Drawful.
Yes.
Is that the one? What's the one we can design a t-shirt? You can actually get them printed. Because seriously,
Oh, yeah.
who is getting those t-shirts printed? Not appearing on the podcast anytime soon. But right, we have a bag of stuff to get through
Big old
because
bag.
days after we recorded the last proper live podcast about the real world, we had PlayStation State of Play. And PlayStation obviously listened to our podcast and realised they hadn't released anything for the past while and have decided to release absolutely everything.
Yeah, they went through all their drawers and cupboards and went, what have we got?
I have a lot of notes for this. I don't know if you want to start, and I will
Cool.
kind of jump in and out, backwards and
it.
forwards.
Let me open up. All right.
But I would say it was very good.
It was all right, wasn't it?
It kind of re-established my faith in PlayStation actually having some games this year.
That's true. The first one I've made any notes about, I found a lot of the stuff across all of them at the minute have kind of left me a little bit confuddled as to whether I like them or not. Some of them are interesting, but I don't know if it will work. And one of the chief one that kind of exemplifies that for me is Pragmata.
Yes, I think that was one of the kind of big ones that stood out for a lot of people. It's good to see Capcom finally making a new game.
Yes, that's true.
and it does look kind of weird. I like the kind of weird. I'd say I'd describe what it is, but it's one of those ones I'd definitely go and check out the trailer, because how would you even describe it?
I feel like it's almost like an escort quest kind of thing. It's kind of like Ratchet and Clank, but instead of Clank, you've got a weird screaming android girl on your back.
Yeah, and you basically use her to shoot enemies, but you have to solve puzzles to shoot the enemies, don't you?
Yeah, she kind of like applies debuffs and stuff to them.
Yeah, it looks very, very different.
Yeah, it's like if Isaac Clarke got a really overly attached backpack.
Yeah, I think it looks really interesting. I think it could be a really cool game, but it's one I think a lot of people will be looking forward to in the future.
Yeah, it did enough to stand out to me, but I don't know whether it will. It's on the fence with that one at the minute.
It gave me the Death Stranding feel.
That's what it is.
It looks good, but I don't quite know what it is.
Yes.
But I'm intrigued. Which, to be honest, I think there's loads of stuff on here that looks really cool. Like, as soon as State of Play even started, I thought Lumen's Arise looked really cool.
Yeah, actually.
I like a good puzzle game. Like, I think the last really good puzzle game I played was the Tetris Effect. Have you played that?
I haven't, actually.
Have you ever done LSD?
I have not.
Why not just play the Tetris Effect? It is available on PlayStation VR as well, and Lumen's Arise, which is made by the same studio, will be on PlayStation VR 2 for you two people who own one. And yeah, it looks really, really good. Basically, yeah, classic puzzle game, but with trippy kind of LSD, acid background stuff. It looks and sounds incredible. Again, please go and watch the trailer for Lumen's Arise. I can't do it justice. It looks pretty crazy. It looks definitely different than anything else out there, which is what you kind of want from a game.
I feel like that on VR will actually be a genuine trip.
Yeah. Back to you.
I
know exactly where you're going.
We spoke about this on the way here, and when I was watching the sort of roundup of it, I was looking at this game going, surely Suda51's involved in this.
30 seconds in, I was like, this is a Suda51 game.
Yeah, this Romeo is a dead man.
Cannot wait.
Looks ludicrous and bombastic and crazy, and I love it.
Yeah.
Already.
It looks like, I think it looks like a mix of Dead Rising and Lollipop Chainsaw.
Yeah.
It looks...
Which, how can you go wrong with that description, to be honest?
When is like the person sitting having a family dinner and then gets dragged into like the land of the dead from Family Dinner by the pizza delivery man or something? It looks wild.
Yeah. To be fair, maybe that's kind of like, I don't know, a commentary on the experience of having a family dinner sometimes.
I think it's just, and also I loved how they had the trailer for the game and then had Suda51. He managed to drop like 3 wrestling references in 90 seconds.
Yeah, that's impressive.
He's an interesting guy, and I think it's the kind of guy we actually need more of in the gaming industry, like people who will just make these wild games.
Rumour has it he hasn't slept since 2003.
Makes sense. And also, I wonder if it's going to somehow randomly be linked to Lollipop Chainsaw, because the main protagonist's name, Romeo, his girlfriend, is called Juliet. Which I don't know if they're just doing it because, Romeo and Juliet, but I think that's boring. Hopefully they're doing it so it's a link to Lollipop Chainsaw, where the main character was Juliet.
I like that. That would be good.
That'd be cool.
So back to you.
Silent Hill F.
That was literally the next one on my list.
Yeah. That looks disturbing.
It looks wildly unhinged.
Yeah, I think they said it's going to be slightly more combat heavy than Silent Hill 2 Remake.
Okay.
Which wouldn't be that hard, because that one was very much it was a lot of walking and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like it's probably going to have more bosses, because it's going to be the first new Silent Hill game in a very long while.
Yeah.
But that Japanese twitchy horror, body horror kind of thing gets me more.
Yeah, the weird stuttery things.
It's the stuttery things,
out.
It's the whole going back to... I originally got that kind of fear from the original Silent Hill and the Nurses.
Yeah, because that always kind of just jiggled.
And I think the more detail you can put into a horror game, the worse it gets.
Yep.
And those enemies look absolutely grotesque.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember being kind of... Because I played like the recent sort of teaser thing that kind of ties into it, and I was like, I don't really know. And then I saw these, and it was like, hoo 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 hoo.
Yeah, Silent Hill, and that's actually out on September 25th, so that's soon.
Not bad. Yeah, I think that was definitely going to be one that I'm going to have to play in short bursts, because it's going to give me the, oh good heavens.
I feel like that's going to be a daytime daytime game. It looks pretty nasty. And
100%.
on the absolute opposite end of the scale, I think a game that everyone's talking about is Baby Steps.
Yep.
The game where... What was that game where you had to use like the keyboard to control the legs? Is it Quap?
Yeah.
It basically looks like that. Essentially, you are a grown man who needs to go to the toilet, and you have to basically control both his legs over like hills and stuff. It looks like kind of a bit like Getting Over. It looks like it's gonna be one of these ones that everyone's gonna be streaming by the time it comes out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it looks so infuriating. But it also looks really funny. Like the cutscenes were generally quite funny.
It seems like it is going to be equal parts just really frustrating and makes you kind of wet yourself.
Yeah, which is ironically not the idea of the game.
That's true.
I have so many things, but I'll let you go back if you want.
So, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. Not Ninja Gaiden 4, because I couldn't give two hoots about that, if I'm honest with you. But Ragebound, oh, it looks fun. Shinobi-esque, Metroidvania kind of thing. Lovely, pixely, side-scrolling action. It's probably still going to be ridiculously hard because Ninja Gaiden hates you for your existence.
That's one fact we're going to definitely get. It's going to be a tough game. So I'm just reloading my beverages.
But yeah, it looked really good to me. I remember I still have flashbacks to playing. Must have been 3, I guess, on PlayStation 3, and oh god, it was horrible.
Yeah, it's a tough game. I think it's kind of pre-Souls.
Yeah.
Difficult parry, kind of difficult game.
Yeah, I think Ninja Gaiden got sick so Dark Souls could die, that kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. It was that does look really cool. Like graphically and the way it's presented, it looks really cool. Gameplay wise, I will not be touching that with a stick. But yeah, it looks really fun. I kind of rattled through a few. Everybody's Golf is back. You ever played an Everybody's Golf game?
I haven't actually.
There, if you want to play a golf game and it's not Mario, that's probably your best bet.
It exists.
That's quite fun. They are doing a Mortal Kombat Legacy collection.
Yes.
That looks really cool. And that's from the people who made the Cowabunga collection.
Ah.
That's a collection of the first 3 Mortal Kombat games across many different formats.
I think we even spoke about this in our Mega Drive episode last time.
Yes, because they are doing the Game Boy version of Mortal Kombat, which you can play online versus people. So all of the Mortal Kombats on the Mortal Kombat Legacy collection, collection with a K, of course, is going to be playable online.
Glorious.
Which is also actually no, I'll save that bit for the end. There was one game right at the end which was very exciting. Have you got any more from PlayStation?
I've got a couple more. I've got 3 more.
Okay, let me. Metal Gear Solid Snakey. It looks amazing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Not really a lot else we can say about that.
It was good then. It'll be good now.
I think the last kind of one we'll talk about is for the makers of Road 96. Tides of Tomorrow is a cool multiplayer game where every player's choice matters. That looks really good. It's basically a mass online game where you never actually play with anyone, but like the group decisions affect the game. It looks odd. Don't really know how it's going to work.
Yeah, it looks kind of like they've expanded upon the bloodstain thing from Dark Souls, where you can kind of see what other players have done.
Yeah, so I think if people unlock a door, it'll be there for if people blow something up, it'll be destroyed.
Yeah.
It was a very short trailer, didn't really give a lot away. But yeah, it looks really cool.
That was on my kind of thing.
Was that on your list?
Yeah.
I'll throw it back to you because I've realised I've totally forgot about something that was on here, which I've got quite a bit to say about.
So, Marvel Tocom Fighting Souls, which is kind of the answer to the question, what if Marvel vs. Capcom without the Capcom?
Just going to link into this very quickly. I was trying to save this one for last.
Oh, damn.
Because it looks very, very good. They've also announced they're going to make the first official PlayStation 5 fight stick.
Ooh,
which I'm sure they're going to probably bundle together because it looks good.
It looks sleek. I love it. So yeah, I'm terrible at fighting games, but I do like to dabble with them every now and then just because they're fun.
For me, if it's going to be a fighting game, it's going to be something like Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah, that's fair.
And this essentially looks a lot like a follow-on.
Yeah,
except it's 4v4.
Yeah, it's like tag team stuff, isn't it? Like little squads.
And they've basically really animated up everyone, haven't they?
Oh, 100%.
It does look really cool.
And the only other thing I have a mention for, and that is 007 First Light, which I don't know about, because by the people that did Hitman, or at least the newer Hitmans, which I should like, but from an IP standpoint, I don't know if I can give a hoot.
I feel like I shouldn't say this because, you know, we shouldn't judge a game by graphics, but the graphics of that game looked like ass.
They're not the best.
They looked really bad. I feel like when you're trying to showcase something, you should really kind of polish your turds a bit more.
Yes, this is true.
And I feel like that did not. It looked rough on the footage they showed.
Yeah. And I know it's obviously like early days, but it just gives me James Bond Jr. vibes.
Yeah, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
That's true.
But yeah, I don't know about that one.
No, I'm on the fence. The gameplay could be good from the sort of pedigree they've got behind the scenes, but also, meh.
Yeah, there's a couple of last little bits of news from here. There's a really good game coming out that looks like kind of a mix between Tony Hawk's and a walking simulator. Also, it's like Journey. It's a game called Sword to the Sea.
Oh yeah.
Straight on PlayStation Plus. Day one PlayStation Plus. Don't get to say that very often. August 19th. It looks like kind of Journey.
Oh yeah.
It looks like it could definitely be a kind of maybe a short game for down at Games Club.
Ooh.
Then they've added some more games to classics. If you have PlayStation Plus Premium, they're adding. They're going to be adding Deus Ex and Twisted Metal 2 and 3
Lovely.
in July. But they have already added Resident Evil 2 and 3 PS1 versions.
Sweet.
And the last thing I'm going to talk about, because I forgot to talk about this with games we have played, because when this was announced, they announced FBC Firebreak is going to come to PlayStation Plus on day one, and I have now played it.
Oh.
I totally forgot I had an afternoon on it.
I've downloaded it, but I haven't played it. How do you find it?
Now, we are both older men.
Yes.
Our reflexes aren't as quick as they used to be.
No.
Call of Duty is fast.
Very.
FBC Firebreak is slow.
Ah. Comfy.
It's a more methodical first-person shooter.
Okay.
It definitely encourages teamwork because you get more shield if you're all together.
Nice.
You can get downed incredibly easy if you're separate. I don't think it's got the longest longevity of all time, but the levels I've done I've really enjoyed. So basically it kind of starts and then you get to a next bit of the level, next bit of the level, next bit of the level. So like the level I did, there was a furnace we had to put out.
Cool.
So everywhere's hot and like periodically you have to turn all these fans on to bring the level cooler. But they're periodically they shoot out fire, then you'd all catch fire. But then some of you have guns that have water, which if you wash, you can get covered in stuff. You can wash it off to regain health.
Okay.
Or obviously, if you catch fire, you just put the fire out of water, and you're constantly being hit by enemies. And you got to work together as a team. You have different classes and stuff. And then basically, it came up to a big like ending where we had to all drop. We had to charge these barrels and then drop them into the furnace to like snuff it out.
Okay.
But it was like waves of enemies while this was going on. It's really good. I actually
fun.
really enjoyed it. I think I played with randoms.
Yeah.
So I think if you had two friends, it'd be a good laugh.
I just need to find one friend then.
Sadly. But basically it just feels like combat feels less like a Twitch shooter. That's
good for me.
You know, it feels more to me like Team Fortress, but cooperatively.
Nice.
I really enjoyed it. Then there was another level which was like had all these kind of ice anomalies. They had to take these portable heaters to like melt the ice anomaly. I can't say that today.
Oh, that's
but also it's all like FBCs flying around.
Nice.
Like there was a set of traffic lights flying around while we're trying to do all the other missions, and every time it stopped, if it went to red and you moved, you take damage. It was really quite clever. There's loads of these ones going around the map randomly, and like all the levels are quite different. I feel like I've only done one or two of the levels twice.
Yeah.
So I only played about 3 or 4 hours, but I think if they kept content coming, it could be quite interesting. And I think like the way you upgrade between levels is quite interesting. Like you get like different attachments to your guns, different ways they work. It's definitely worth jumping into. It is on Games Pass and PlayStation Plus.
Yes.
Which is quite interesting, but I'd recommend it. I reckon we should jump on it at some point.
Oh, 100%. It's on my pile of shame. It does look interesting.
I don't think it's gonna necessarily change the world, but I think it's well worth playing.
Cool. I'm done with it.
And basically that is everything for PlayStation State of Play, but they have announced they're doing a Ghost of Yotai deep dive coming in July.
Lovely.
Which is my most anticipated PlayStation 5 game of 2025, so I'm excited for that.
As long as there's still the option to scream at people to initiate combat, I'm down.
Yeah. So yeah, it seems like PlayStation has decided to release some games.
Yeah,
Which will be yeah.
Gap
Which
year.
takes us nicely onto Summer Games Fest.
Summer games.
I do feel like as we go, so we got one more after this, we've got the Xbox Direct after this, but I do feel like there's slightly less being announced for each one, so there's probably a bit of a crossover.
Yes.
And I'll start off with Summer Games Fest with the announcement of Atomic Heart 2.
That one has kind of surprised me in as much that Atomic Heart kind of went with a bit of a damp
It
fart.
kind of came and it kind of went. I don't know if they timed it great, being kind of set in Soviet Russia. I enjoyed it. It kind of gave me that kind of Fallout, Bioshock kind of feel.
Yeah.
I feel like they released it at terrible times. I think I started playing it, then something more interesting came along. And I can't remember what it was. But it's definitely a game I'd probably jump back into.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad it got a sequel, because I think they could build quite an interesting universe. But yeah, it's
an odd one to have gotten a sequel, to be fair. But I suppose
it's surprising.
Yeah, if it did come out at just a bad time, I suppose it's good for it to have another chance.
As long as they don't wait till next May to release it.
Oh God, they will, won't they? Like the 27th of.
But yeah, don't know
May.
when it's out, but yeah, that looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's my first surprises.
Mine so far, not a huge amount of. I mean, we've not even had any gameplay from what I can tell, and I know you're hyped about this one as well, and that's Resident Evil Requiem.
Yes, so that was a really cool one that no one really saw. I like how they did it kind of halfway through Summer Games Fest. They were like, we've got some more news on a new Resident Evil coming really soon, and it was at the end.
Yeah, and it's like, bonk, here it is.
Yeah, I feel like it's one. I think there's been a little bit of gameplay leaked, but not a great deal. Essentially, it's Resident Evil 9.
Yeah,
it's going back to Raccoon City 20-something years after the events of Resident Evil 3, so the tactical nuke has been dropped, the city's in ruins.
Nearly in real time since the game.
Yeah, it's basically in real time. They're going back to Raccoon City for reasons that are not apparent at the moment. You're playing the daughter of one of the characters from Resident Evil Outbreak.
This gives me separate excitement as well.
Yes.
That's now acknowledging Outbreak as canon and that it exists. So will we get a future remaster of them? I hope so, because they slapped harder than like Chris Brown and Connery put together.
That would be an 8. Was it 8 players?
Something like that, yeah.
8-player co-op Resident Evil game with actual internet now would be incredible, because that was the thing that was running on the PlayStation 2 weird
little net adapter.
Yeah,
that was strange.
And I think if you could get a stable internet connection, that would be immense.
Yeah, I love those games. I tried so hard to just 100% so many of them.
I am sure we're going to get Leon in that game.
Oh yeah, they've hinted at it, but said like, oh, he's not great for horror because he's too capable. But like, yeah, but...
And also kind of saying, oh, but he's old now. I also think it being Resident Evil 9... What's there's a tagline of it, isn't it? Isn't it the end?
Oh yeah.
Which I don't think they're just going to go, we're making 9 Resident Evil games and that's it. Stop. But I think they're probably going to end some storylines there. I think it might be like the last time back to Raccoon City until the next time.
But to be fair, there's not a great deal of it left to go back to.
No, I tell you what, have they built that police station out of though?
Yeah.
Because I don't think no one really knew what it was until you kind of got an iconic shot of the front door of Raccoon City Police Station. Everyone was like, oh, it's there.
Yeah, full on RPD, full on, what was it, the Statue of sort of Judgment.
Yeah, so yeah, that's very exciting. I think the other game, there's quite a few... Marvel Cosmic Invasion looks fantastic still.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about this before. Basically, for the people who brought you TMNT Shredder's Revenge, is a side-scrolling Marvel beat-em-up. Just easy way to print money.
As long as you have plenty of characters to pick from.
Yeah,
different ults.
Put plenty of characters. They will probably put in multiple characters over time. That's the kind of DLC I'd buy.
Oh yeah, especially if they do the Ultimate Alliance kind of thing of having synergies with different characters.
Yeah, I think they will. I think that looks absolutely incredible. That's coming. I still don't think that's got a date.
No, I couldn't see one.
Yeah, I'll throw it back to you and I'll see if you talk about your most anticipated game.
Ooh. So, this isn't maybe my most anticipated, but now that I think about it, it's interesting based on what our Helldivers news was. And that is Gears of War Reloaded is coming August 26th. So dropping the same day as Helldivers 2 on Xbox.
That's nice, isn't it? So PlayStation are giving Xbox players Helldivers, and Xbox is giving them.
Nice little hostage exchange there.
I'm excited for it. I will play it because I do own Gears of War digitally because it came with a console. I do think it's a weird thing as a physical collector. They're not doing a physical copy for the Xbox without a PlayStation 5.
Yeah, that's strange.
And I do think it's weird that they're releasing just Gears of War 1. Why not do the trilogy?
Yeah.
To begin with, at least.
Yeah, I guess milk more money out of it.
But I feel like it's just kind of teasing PlayStation players into this is the first game of a franchise which has a lot of games, which you can all play on Games Pass.
Yeah. And by the way, everything's Xbox. Turn around, that family member, Xbox. We replaced them while you weren't looking.
I feel like Xbox soon are going to release. Well, we're going to get Gears of War E-Day.
Yeah.
Which, again, I think basically Xbox will do anything but release Gears of War 6.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like, consistently.
They seem very reluctant to actually go full numbered sequel.
I actually nearly totally forgot about that one. So we talked about earlier the Street Fighter film, which was a bit weird. This is one I will try and describe, but trust me, go and check out the trailer for Street Fighter 6, the DLC that's coming, because it has Kenny Omega from AEW.
Lovely.
And he's looking in the mirror, and then he keeps seeing himself dressed up as various Street Fighter characters, including some schoolgirls. It's so incredibly weird. It's worth watching for that weird ass trailer. And he's beating himself up, dressed as a schoolgirl. It is absolute wow. It's so weird. It's so trippy. But
that hurts my brain to think about.
It's so funny. It's definitely worth because Kenny Omega's a massive gamer. He's done lots of Final Fantasy kind of cosplay in wrestling rings before, but the Street Fighter 6 stuff is mad.
Right. Next one from me. So this one's interesting for reasons, and that is Black Ops 7. And I'm very intrigued that they've gone Black Ops 7, because usually they alternate strands of COD, don't they? So last year was 6.
This kind of goes to show I didn't even realise it was a new COD.
Yeah, that's fair.
I kind of got beyond caring.
It's the thing, fascism simulator.
Is that saying, it's Sunday?
Yeah.
There's a new COD.
I mean, as far as COD goes, I prefer the Black Ops ones now, because Treyarch and whatnot, they have the better zombies.
Don't get me wrong, I like playing through the campaigns periodically. I will not rush out of my way to go and get a midnight launch. I'll play them. Normally drop on Games Pass or something. I'll just download a game, play the campaign, go, that was fun.
Yep.
Normally bang on easy, smash out in 2 nights with 2 6-packs, and then job's good.
Yeah.
It's like kind of watching, say, a Michael Bay film. Yes. It's not going to change the world, but it's a bit of a laugh.
Yeah, no substance to it really. Things happen, stuff explodes.
Yeah.
Patriotism.
Explosions, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to save ones. I know you're going to talk about it, but there's one of the really random ones. Not a lot about this, but the first Wu-Tang game in a long, long while. Wu-Tang Rise of the Deceiver.
Nice.
Looks pretty cool. Soundtrack's obviously going to be absolutely sick. Another one, Scott Pilgrim EX.
Oh, okay.
Side-scrolling Scott Pilgrim game. Again, going to be incredible. Soundtrack's going to be immense. And then, last one before I throw it back to you, Lego Voyagers.
I missed this one.
So, one of my favourite gaming companies is Annapurna Interactive. They made many, many good games, such as Donut Country, What Remains of Edith Finch, many, many games I can't think of right now. But they've been given the keys to the new Lego game.
Excellent.
And you think, what are they going to do with it?
Mm.
So essentially you are 2 single Lego blocks, and it's a game which has to be played in multiplayer, and you have to cooperatively work together to solve mini Lego puzzles that are actually made out of Lego.
Okay.
So it looks like if Pixar had made a Lego game. It's all animated and looks really, really good.
That sounds fun.
So a cooperative, actual, made out of Lego puzzle game. It looks really, really interesting.
Cool.
It looks really chill, really zen, but also I reckon can get quite difficult.
Yeah.
And looks really, really cool.
I like it. I'll have to look that one up. Yeah, that one passed me by somehow.
Yeah. I'm going to see if it passed you. There's one game you haven't mentioned yet. I want to see if it passed you by.
Would that be Beast of Reincarnation?
No, it's not.
Ah, this one intrigues me. So it's a Soulsborne looking thing, so probably not your
Well, this
cup
is
of
probably
tea.
why I switched off.
However, it's from Game Freak.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, what the hell?
The Pokemon Souls game.
Yeah, it looks absolutely wild. The combat looks very Sekiro-y because you can jump and flip and you're all over the place, but it still looks very Soulsborne.
Yeah.
But it's from the OG Pokemon game creators.
Because I can't think of any game that Game Freak have made other than Pokemon.
Exactly. It's like one day they just went, sod it, I'm doing something new, threw it all out.
Have they decided to make something with graphics?
Yes, it's very weird. I hope just all of the enemies shout their name though. That would be quite fun.
That would be incredible.
Especially if it's Guzzlord.
Yeah, we have a real in-joke with Guzzlord at the moment, because if you've never seen the Pokemon cartoon with Guzzlord, it's probably the weirdest Pokemon.
It's out there.
Because it just screams like it's stubbed its toe. It's just like, ah! Consistently. It's one of those things that really makes me laugh. Right.
Oh, so good.
I have one more to talk about for Summer Games Fest. Do you want to just talk about Deadpool VR?
Oh, yes, Deadpool. I mean, for one, what a trailer. I mean, obviously,
Perfect.
fourth wall breaking and use of that
Absolute
Taylor
cinema.
Dane song. I feel like possibly it's a bit too late now. Hard Bullets come out because they have a very
Yes.
similar vibe, but you get to do all the same stuff. You can put katanas through people's heads, deflect bullets probably.
Yeah.
That actually does look very exciting.
Yeah. I can't believe you nearly forgot about it. Did you forget about it?
I forgot about it.
We have actually talked about it in depth as well, because we're like, that's going to be good on, because that's Quest 3 exclusive.
I think so.
I feel like that's going to be a big one.
Yeah.
Because it's essentially, if you're going to make a Deadpool game, that's the perfect one to make.
Yeah, because being in that really immersive, like, insert thing, you can have so much fun with it.
I imagine it's just going to be like the start of, like, I hope it has Backstreet Boys in.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Just essentially just do that bit at the start of Wolverine, Deadpool Wolverine. That would be absolutely
Yeah, they just turn it
perfect.
into DDR for a second and you have to nail
Yeah.
it. Did you see about There Are No Ghosts at the Grand Hotel?
No.
That one looks pretty cool. I mean, it's really weird. It's part property flipper, part Ghostbusters.
Go on.
So by day, like, you've inherited this knackered old hotel somewhere in England, and you're having to renovate it. But then at night, ghosts.
Oh.
You have a talking multi-tool, a sassy cat that talks to you. For some reason, it's also a musical. I don't know why.
Are you sure you didn't imagine this
I
game?
think I might have stayed in a room with paint fumes for too long, but
Yeah.
and it was just my cat talking to me. But it looks intriguing. It could be quite funny. I forget some of the pedigree of the developers and other things I've worked on, but I did look into it, and it's some that I've played have gone like, oh yeah, that's quite funny. I think they're a Bristol-based firm.
Okay.
So yeah, the humour's probably going to be quite dry and sardonic,
Perfect.
which we like.
I have one more from Summer Games Fest. Have you any more? Got any more?
Two quick mentions, and that's High on Life 2.
Yep.
Which isn't going to win any major awards, but if you
Is
like...
it going to have the same voice actors?
That's a good point. We
We won't go too much into that. But yeah, funny game.
Yeah, if you like, again, tools and weapons that talk to you. Plenty of that.
Yeah.
And Kronos the New Dawn. Sci-fi survival horror, which, you know, that's kind of middle of the road. But the thing that intrigued me about it is the enemies confused together, kind of making some sort of
Oh,
Cronenberg
more
Voltron.
body horror.
Exactly. It's like...
It's going to be like the Thing, kind of.
It kind of looks it, yeah.
Oh, lovely. That sounds terrifyingly horrible.
Yeah, it's going to be awful in a very fun way, I hope.
Well, I'm going to flip it to the happy side of the track with my final one, which is, I just want to get the name of it right, Sonic Racing Crossworlds.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we all enjoy a good kart racer, but we haven't all got Switch 2s.
No, that's true.
I actually really enjoy the Sonic Racing games
Yeah,
because you
yeah.
can play as Knuckles.
Knuckles.
So, Sonic Racing games are always really good, but they're always B tier to Mario Kart.
Yes.
But cross worlds means crossovers. And this one looks like it could have some of the best crossovers. So it has all the kind of Sonic Racing people. So you got Sonic, Knuckles, Faily Tails, probably Dr. Eggman,
Probably.
normal Big the Cat.
Big.
Great name. But then it's going to have some really weird crossovers. So it's going to have a Minecraft level. And that straight away makes me think a lot of people are going to jump on a Minecraft-based racing level. How much fun would that... Because you could basically go...
That's quite fun.
It could be really cool. Like destructibility. There could be lava.
Yeah.
Lava chicken.
No.
Still haven't seen the Minecraft
No.
movie, but we do have TikTok. But yeah, I can imagine it'd be really cool. I think they've got loads of extra drivers you unlock. So one is Steve,
Nice.
and I presume there's going to be a chicken jockey as a cart.
That's fair.
And I think that could be a really interesting kind of crossover with that one. But it's not the only crossover they've announced. There's also going to be one for Persona.
Cool.
And they've said Joker's going to be one of the drivers. But for me, the most exciting one, I don't think there's any footage of this yet, is there's going to be a TMNT crossover.
All right. Sign me up.
Yeah, so karting with TMNT, with that kind of the speed of Sonic Racing, and I think it could be a winner.
I suppose like they can lob one of the others like a shell.
Yeah, or like maybe they'll be on like kind of surfboard or anything.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how big each DLC will be. I presume it'll be like kind of maybe a handful of maybe it'll be like a world. We have like a couple of tracks, a couple of races. It could be really, really good.
I might be able to have a sewer cycle.
Yeah, it could be like I can imagine like I don't know, maybe Krang in a little technodrome.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I'm definitely watching that with quite a lot of interest.
Yeah.
Because we'll talk a bit more about the Switch 2 later on. Spoiler alert for questions from the viewers. But yeah, that was one of the big things I think that I'm missing out not having the Switch 2.
Yeah.
Is not being able to play Mario Kart World because it looks sick, but this could be a really good replacement.
Yeah. On the subject of Mario Kart, I do like some of the clips I've seen of people like getting the power up and then just being, I'm an 18-wheeler, and just through
Yes,
things.
that does look fun. See, I have got a little bit of FOMO. But we'll talk about that right at the end of today's episode, which brings us on to the final thing that happened in June, the busiest gaming month of all time. Game companies, can I basically send you my holiday for next year so you can just not do everything while I'm away? And Xbox Game Showcase. And as I said, things have got slower as I've gone on. I have only 3 things I really want to talk about for the Xbox Game Showcase. One of which, of course, being Outer Worlds 2, which we'll leave until the end.
Yes.
Because they kind of really showed a lot of that. But how much you got from Xbox Games Showcase?
I've got 4 or 5 little notable mentions.
Okay, well I'll jump straight into one because it's a nice segue for the last one. More TMNT content, this time for Tony Hawk's 3-4.
Cool.
So Tony Hawk's 3+4, whatever it's called, you can play as Michelangelo.
Nice.
I think it's going to have a sewer level. I have played the demo of Tony Hawk's 3+4, which is on Games Pass at the moment. It's just the Tony Hawk's you love, remember. It's going to be good.
Nice.
You can also play as a Doomslayer. Yes. Looks really good.
That one still always gets me. I forget about it and then I see it. I was like, oh yeah.
I think it's sad they still haven't. But also they're putting Officer Dick in.
Nice.
Officer Dick. Yeah, I'll leave you with that for a moment.
So, Blood of the Dawnwalker. This one might be interesting. I think, if I remember, the devs are sort of the company was created by someone that was at CD Projekt Red, and it's a case of any sort of Blade IP has taken so long. Someone went, sod it, I'm gonna make my own with blackjack and hookers.
Yeah.
So you're playing as a half human, half vampire guy that can walk in the sun, but it's all medievally times RPG shenanigans ensues. Might be very generic. Could be fun because vampires.
Yeah.
Who knows? So that one was quite interesting to me.
RPG, Project Red, vampires. So
exactly. It's got chops. It has legs.
I'll let you go again. So I got little short ones, really.
This one, I mean, this has got to be a no-brainer for it being good, and that is Indiana Jones and the Order of the Giants DLC.
Yeah, great game. Indiana Jones was fantastic. As long as you can punch more Nazis.
Yeah, I mean, we've got Knights Templar, so it's even more right-wing nuts. So.
Yeah, great game.
Yep, loved it.
We'll probably have never picked up a physical copy of it. We'll probably wait for the inevitable Game of the Year edition, which has all the DLC.
Makes sense.
Some of the giant battles were some of my least favourite bosses.
Yes.
So hopefully not just many giants to fight because those bosses were annoying.
Yeah, just run around quickly. Shut up. Oh, he's here again.
But yeah, that's exciting.
Animo or Anemo? Don't quite know. The answer to the question, what if we learned nothing from the Palworld lawsuit? It's basically...
Is it another one?
It is. It's just open world, sort of anime-style graphics. You're going around collecting creatures that you can have as companions and fighting and battling things. I'm like...
The question is, though, how much does the Pokemon company own of that as a general concept of a game.
Yeah, like, are they going around and, like,
Actually-
shutting down cockfighting rings?
Well, I suppose, like, it's kind of the argument of Digimon exists, so maybe that's the
True.
level.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I think the thing with Power World is, like, you could say that's definitely meant to be that Pokemon.
Yeah, and the fact that it is blatantly just like, here's this ball. Bloop.
Yeah, I think it's because it was so similar.
Yeah.
Probably the one that really stood out to me as a big fan of the series in the comics was Invincible Versus.
Yeah,
Which looked
that one did
really
look quite
good.
cool.
Didn't really see that coming, an Invincible based beaten up game.
No.
I think it's a 2v2 kind of classic beat 'em
Cool.
up. On a separate note, I'm sure a lot of people watched the first series of Invincible, and then probably we're now on the third. The second wasn't great.
Mhm.
The first series of Invincible is one of the greatest series of anything ever, especially like animated superhero cartoons. I kind of rate it up there with The Boys of being like very, very good. The second season did fall a bit flat, but season 3, I've just started just started watching season 3 of Invincible, and it is back, and it is really good.
Noise.
So yeah, excited for the game.
Yeah.
That's about it for me from Xbox Game Showcase, because Xbox obviously had a bit of a sleep,
Yeah.
except for the obvious one at the end.
Yeah, I thought Clockwork Revolution kind of looked interesting. It's a steampunk first-person shooter with some pretty interesting like weapon customization. But looking at the back catalogue from the devs, they haven't done anything kind of like that before. So it also looks very drab and brown.
Yeah,
Like, it gives me
360 vibes.
early 2010s standard
Yeah.
chest high wall cover shooter nonsense.
Yeah.
So it might not work, but it might.
Is
It
that
looks
your
flashy.
Is that your last one?
Other than what I think is possibly the main thing.
Outer Worlds 2?
Oh, I was going to go with the Xbox ROG.
Yes! Let's quickly cover Outer Worlds 2, because essentially I've decided I will be playing it. I didn't want to watch too much of the trailer. I enjoyed the Outer Worlds 2. If you haven't played it, play it. It's basically... Do you enjoy Fallout? If yes, play it. Do you enjoy Fallout New Vegas more than Fallout 3 or 4? If yes, play it now.
Yes.
It's basically way more Fallout New Vegas than anything else. It has way funnier humour. It's an incredibly good game. The second game is going to probably be better.
Yeah.
I didn't bother watching the trailer. Yes, we all know there's a perk where you have crackly knees. We've all seen it. It looks really good. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. The little bits I have seen so far, the humour looks
Yeah.
just enough. Not too
Yes.
much to be like taking the mick, but
Yeah,
it's good.
some of these deep dives I don't like watching because they give too much away. I feel like with that one they would.
Yeah. It takes a good swipe at capitalism in there, which
Perfect.
it needs to happen.
And nice segue. Capitalism. Everything's an Xbox, especially this handheld Xbox.
Yes. Like, it had been rumoured for a while, and now it's finally been confirmed that sort of holiday period this year, we're getting a crossover with Xbox and Asus doing a handheld.
Yeah. It's a weird one.
It is.
The thing is, incredible on the surface. It's a handheld which can play Xbox Games Pass, PC games, I think it has open source,
I think so.
and Steam, and in theory, PlayStation games which are available through Steam.
Years.
So it is the everything except Switch 2 box.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic idea.
Yeah. If they pull it off.
It's not officially Xbox licensed, is it?
No, I think there was talk for a while of a fully standalone first-party handheld from them. That's now gone quiet, from what I can tell. Whether some of the things I've read that's being held back until the next full console as well.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The biggest problem is the price.
It is many pounds.
Isn't it the cheapest version is £600?
Yeah, around about that.
And then it goes up to £1,000. And how much is a Steam Deck?
Depends on the size of the hard drive and the OLED screen, but
Less.
yeah, even the top tier ones I've found
It's
are like 700-800.
Such a strange time. It's like Xbox went, well, let the Switch 2 come out, then announce our handheld.
Yeah, and the thing is, Steam Deck 2 at some point is coming, so it's like, maybe wait and see what's happening there.
I feel like Xbox even needed to really, really commit to it or not.
Yeah. This feels like a half measure, almost.
I feel like it was poo or get off the pot.
Yeah.
For the PG version. I feel like they should have done it a long while ago. I think it's like when PlayStation released their official backbone. It's like, it's here! But you need to have your PlayStation kind of on at all times and be connected to Wi-Fi and everything else. So, yeah, it's great, but it's not there.
Yeah, in real terms, not quite works.
And then the Switch has had like years to basically perfect, and then bring out the Switch 2, which has basically perfected handheld gaming. The Steam Deck's been consistently doing it, and Xbox is like, yeah, we can do that too.
Yeah, I'll throw our hat in the ring.
We can do that for twice as much. You could probably buy on a Steam Deck and a Switch 2 for the same price of the higher end models.
More than likely.
It's a very confusing time, but it is a very good. It is tempting.
It does look nice, to be fair. I like it. I'm intrigued by it. If they do something about the price, maybe I'll buy it.
I didn't see too much about it, but if you can dock it as well.
That's true.
If you can play it in docked mode, and basically you could have your Xbox you could take anywhere. Ooh. That's quite nice, and it could be the most inclusive handheld device so far.
Yeah. Very true.
But yeah, that's definitely one where I think time will tell.
Yeah.
But I am definitely very, very interested on that one.
I still think at this point, if I was to pick between that or a Switch 2, it would be that.
Yeah. I feel like you've perfectly set up for the first. We don't practice this, honestly. This is like so off the cuff. As you can hear, my dog is now trying to get in. So we're going to wrap this up fairly quick. But we have some questions, once again, for the public. What I will do is I'll always throw questions out to the public a few days before we do this over on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And our first question this time, quite fittingly, comes from Unstoppable Juggernaut of Force. Incredible name. What are your thoughts of the Switch 2?
Not many. I mean, I get that there are some franchises and sort of killer app kind of things that are only going to ever be.
So you're
Nintendo.
not the biggest Nintendo fanboy, are you?
No, it wasn't anything I really grew up with.
I enjoy playing a Nintendo game periodically.
Mm-hmm.
I find it is a nice, comfortable, warm blanket that feels similar.
Yeah.
The problem is, for me, is at the moment, if I bought a Switch 2, I would buy a Switch 2 to play Mario Kart World. And that's about it.
Yes.
I'm not going to... The new Donkey Kong game looks very good.
Yeah.
I feel like I play a lot of games, and the Switch 2 isn't bringing out as much as it needs. And the whole game carts and game codes in a box can suck it.
Yeah, that's not on.
That's just an absolute load. And I feel like it's going to be what it is. It's for, if you're a Nintendo fan, or it feels wrong to say, but if you're a slightly casual gamer who wants to play like 1 or 2 games, 3 or 4 games a year, absolutely perfect, because you are going to play some very good games and you're going to really enjoy them. But I feel like there's nothing I would like. Cyberpunk 2077 has just been dropped on Switch 2.
Yes.
That's the last way I'd want to play it.
Yeah.
I would play, if I'm going to play, which I am actually still planning to play very soon, Phantom Liberty, because I still haven't played it. To much to my wife's chagrin, because she played it and really enjoyed it. But if I'm going to play Cyberpunk 2077, it's going to be on a 65-inch TV.
Yeah, not this.
It's not going to be on a 6.5-inch handheld mode. Don't get me wrong, it's incredible it's on there. It's incredible. I've played The Witcher 3 on Switch. It's incredible.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's enough on the Switch to facilitate, to justify its price tag.
Same. Like, the only thing so far I've seen on there that would really particularly interest me, I think I mentioned before, is the Duskbloods.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not buying a whole new system again just for...
Or, you know, I still haven't played Tears of the Kingdom, which I've heard, like, the upgraded version of that is absolutely incredible on Switch 2. It's a 10 quid charge to play it for the original cartridge. But as well, there's just not enough. I would turn on the Switch 2 and go, I'll play Mario Kart or Mario Kart. Yeah. When I turn on the Xbox, I'm like, oh my God, there's so much going on. There's so much to play. Like, we moan about PlayStation not having anything out over the past few years, but...
At least there's a decent catalogue to rely on.
Yeah. And at the moment, the Switch 2 hasn't got a great deal going on.
No.
And I've still got, you know me, I'm back with... Every game is backlogged.
True.
Way more games we'll ever play in a lifetime. I just don't feel like I'm going to go out of my way to pick up a Switch 2 yet.
No.
I think when it has that killer kind of game on there, probably when it drops maybe like a new Zelda, or not even the new Pokemon, because it looks like it's coming back out on the Switch as well.
True.
It's a difficult one. I think at the moment it doesn't quite have that selling point that I'm going to jump on it.
Yeah, and there doesn't seem to have been as much of a technical upgrade between the 1 and 2 to really justify it.
Even though it's the biggest selling launch console launch of all time.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe we're wrong, but yeah, I feel like it's not the time yet.
No.
But I feel like I will undoubtedly pick one up in the future. So our next question is from Sleepy Dan Punk. Really good usernames this time, folks.
Is that us?
No. Says, have you ever thought about collecting Red PS3 USA Hits collections? So, anyone who's listening hasn't watched me over on YouTube, youtube.com/DanGamesFan. I've slowly done a complete PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 Neon, and PlayStation 3 Platinum collection. And in America, the Red PlayStation 3 USA Hits are their version of Platinum.
Mm-hmm.
Now, long story short, it's hard enough trying to find every Platinum game released here in the PAL region. Postage to the UK is a nightmare. Trying to go for a full set from another country where every game would roughly be about 15 quid delivered is going to be a postal nightmare.
That's a hard no.
So yeah, probably something I'll do in the future because I'm insane. Never say never.
That's true.
That's all I'm going to say. And we're going to... basically, so the short answer, maybe, who knows, probably. Final question this time is from Mishap Music, and they ask, did you teach yourself about video making? Now, most people probably don't realise Dan does a lot of the behind the scenes stuff for the podcast, so you're more of the audio aficionado.
Yes, that's my little tinkering area.
Are you self-taught?
Yes. Yeah, completely self-taught using audio software, and back in the day I did a lot of faffing on video creation as well, using a mix of different things, different softwares, including just the Creative Studio on PlayStation, OBS, and I've forgotten what the other one was. Basically one of the free editing softwares you'd get with Windows computers.
Yeah.
Just found different ways to do
probably
them.
WinVid or something.
Yeah. Just learned different things on doing overlays and timings and just basically little video things that would amuse me.
Yeah. So for myself, I'm going to say it because it does matter. I did study film studies and media tech back in college, but that was a long while ago. We were using VHS tapes and mini DV, so date that. So I did fit with like video editing in the modern world. Yes, I did kind of self-teach myself. During lockdown, I decided I wanted to make videos to kind of reach out to gaming fans, have people to talk to. And yeah, I did basically self-teach myself with like modern stuff. Obviously, I kind of have an idea. I think there's a slight kind of thing of making a video, like angles and stuff. I think 100%. That is important. I think, you know, if you film stuff badly, you can't polish it again. Yeah.
100%.
There's always like a thing about composing shots, stuff like that, making things look interesting, and just basically quality control. Which kind of leans into the next part of this question. What's your workflow? So how do you go about editing the podcast? Because I didn't even really know this.
So usually what I do first thing is just sort of flatten it all down so there aren't too many spikes and whatnot, and then give everything a nice feel and sort of change some of the frequency in different ranges to make the thing sound a bit more full. And then compress it again, so then everything's like at a pretty steady level on the waveform, so you don't get bits where it's like and then from there I will cut and splice, getting rid of any extra little noises or putting in sound effects and music that again amuse me. But by and large, yeah, it's just clean it up, spice it up, done.
Yeah. And interestingly, do you do the intros, which you only hear on the audio version of these podcasts, do you do them before or after the editing process?
Usually I will do it after.
So you save that for last?
Yeah, because that's usually, strangely, the most sort of intensive part of it, because I have to figure out what it is and then do a bajillion takes, because usually I trip over my own tongue. And that's sort of the more time and resource.
So do you save the hardest part for last?
9 times out of 10, yes.
See, I'm the opposite. So obviously when I make my kind of live game hunting videos, bits like that, I will obviously film the stuff in the wild at the start. Then I'll kind of put that all together, kind of clip the videos together, do it like that. But then the next thing I'll do before I do any voiceover or major editing, so I'll just kind of bulk it all together, and then I will do the stuff from in the games room first. Because I find that the more intensive, and I'd rather get that out of the way first. So I'll do that before I do the voiceovers, any of the real editing, stuff like that. So that's what I will always do first.
Fair.
Because the podcast is different. We have basically one take on this.
Yeah.
I have hundreds of takes when I'm doing the stuff in the games room because I'd rather get it right. So sometimes if it does sound scripted, it's not necessarily scripted. It's just I'm saying the thing I've been trying to say repeatedly, correctly for the first time.
Oh, 100%. And that frustration you feel when you're on like the 7th time of trying to say a line you've written. It's like, come on, brain. Stop
and
it.
I think people are like, oh, it'd be really funny to hear outtakes. It wouldn't. It's just me getting increasingly annoyed and my voice not doing what I want it to do.
Yeah, and me then going, oh, I've got a dry mouth. Let's have some water.
Yeah, there's a lot of drinking in... And, yeah, so basically it's a very long process.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is what's going to surprise most people. Like, I'll let you answer this first. What software and camera equipment do you use?
So software-wise, audio stuff, I'll use Audacity, but I've also gotten a subscription to, I've forgotten what it's even called, but a virtual microphone mixing desk, so I can apply different effects.
Yeah.
So then that basically then plugs into Audacity, and rather than running my just standard USB plug and play mic, it treats the software as the microphone, so then anything I apply in the app then goes into Audacity. And yeah, it was pretty standard mic I got off Amazon, nothing fancy.
Yeah. That's kind of how I've always done things. I do not use anything fancy. I use this. I use an iPhone. This is my camera. This is how I record. This is how I edit. We are using another separate iPhone to record the podcast.
You are currently an iPhone.
We literally just take the audio from this video. The video version gets uploaded pretty raw onto YouTube. I then send you the audio version, which is what you play around with.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I do my editing on here using iMovie. It's how I've always done it. It works for me. And sometimes I think you can really overcomplicate things.
100%.
And to be honest, if Danny Boyle can make a film using an iPhone, I'm sure I can make a 20-minute video about a car boot. So I feel like I would probably find it easier if I had a Mac, but Macs are expensive.
Oh, yeah.
So are games, but I can buy more games for a Mac.
That's true.
And I'd never game on a Mac either.
Feels like dirty.
Yeah, but I hope that hasn't kind of ruined the illusion that we are both professional sound editors. We have like a studio. Like, I think people imagine like a big mixing desk. Like we're standing there with all these massive screens and stuff. It's like, nah, personally, I just normally sit here on the sofa in the games room, just playing around. And I think, do you actually have a computer?
I have a computer, and that's another part of the process. When I'm recording the intros, I have to try and act like I have sound baffling, which involves me draping a blanket over myself on the microphone, so it gets very
Which
hot.
I never knew until a day or two ago, because we've been going through the heat wave. Dan's had to put off doing the intro of this episode because it's been too hot.
He's like, I'm going to wrap myself in a blanket. Hooray.
That's how professional we are. We have one of us wrapped in a blanket and the other one just sitting on their phone editing from wherever he's sitting. I'll leave that to your imagination. But this has been a long episode. June was a very busy month, but we are back with our 2 weeks, and I'm sure something will happen in about 20 minutes time when we finish recording this episode. So we're going to sound off for now. Remember, you can see me every Saturday live at 5 over on YouTube on the Day in the Games Man channel. This podcast drops every other Friday where all podcasts are available. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and as always, keep playing the game. It's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
And we'll see y'all soon. Thanks for listening.